What's going on, workforce? Brian here for Work to Game. Yoshi-P just wrapped up a Q&A, so let's discuss. So out at PAX East, Yoshi-P just finished up a Q&A where both the audience and there were questions and answers from a very cheap bag, apparently, that we were able to ask for Yoshi-P regarding Stormblood. So Matt Hilton teased that hopefully we'll focus in on questions about Stormblood and not about Peaches this year. So let's just jump into this. There's a couple big news bits that I want to share, and I'm going to actually do that first. After which, there were a couple questions that I think are good to know, and there were some that I think we're going to try to filter out. But I've got my notes here, so let's go ahead and do this thing. First things first, around May, we're going to have a North American data center move. So they're going to have some information about this posted on the Lodestone at some point in the future. They were thinking May. Lots has to go into it, lots of reasons. They want to be on better technology, which is going to help with Stormblood, the expanded inventory, all of that. So that's really good news. It's just going to be a little bit of a pain around that time. I'll cover it here as we learn more information and go from there. Yoshi-P also did mention to hopefully people will calm down on the i280. He says that some people are really upset about it from the diadem. And in this case, he's like, it's like finding a quarter on the road, going into the casino in Las Vegas and winning the jackpot. Like, it is meant to be very rare. There's a lot of people who feel like they have to get this now. And even still, the stats are also random on it, which is really, I think that's kind of fun and cool. But he's like, still, the anima weapon is going to be the most powerful weapon as of Heaven's Word before we go into Stormblood. And I think the last bit of information I want to share up front here before we dive into all the Q&A was that there are interviews with the media scheduled for later this day. I'm sure we'll see various interviews on Gamerscape and Nova Crystallis later today or tomorrow at some point. So that's going to be exciting. We're going to have lots to talk about this weekend and then going through this week. So the question was asked, did Doma fall because there were no tanks or healers and they were all just DPS, aka Samurai and Red Mage? Which everybody thought was really hilarious. I found that very funny as well. And he says, well, that's why we're there to liberate, so that we can have plenty of people tanking and healing for Doma. So it was a really good start for the Q&A. Lots of humor there. So then somebody asked, are we going to see and be able to acquire the goggles that the Scions of the Seventh Dawn have? Being, kind of the implication is that we've been working with them for so long, when are we going to get that? And he said that, well, maybe if we go to Charlayan, that there'll be an opportunity to get a pair of those goggles for ourselves. And if you don't know what I'm referring to, for the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, they all have this device that they use to be able to see Aether. It's a part of their investigations of some parts of the storyline. And somebody was asking about that specifically. And so with that, he said that if we ever go, and then he kind of teased and jokingly said 6.0. Don't know if that's going to be real. They show it now on the map. So we might go there, we might not. He might have just said 6.0 because it was, to throw us off for Stormblood. Or it's just on the map because it's on the map and we might go there in 6.0. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if you think we're going to Old Charlayan. So somebody asked that they feel like White Mage is now not an optimal healer, that Scholar and Astrologian really kind of take advantage of everything. He's like, well, that's the Astrologian is just recent with those changes, and that there are balances coming for all the healers with 4.0 and to trust him. So whether we'll see that or not, we have yet to see. They also kind of mentioned regarding for cross class now cross role, is Cleric stance going to be a part of the healer DPS rotation, our healers DPSs? And Yoshi-P puts a pin in this. Like, we were talking about this on the channel with the healer versus healer video, and he says that healers are for healing and that you shouldn't be worried or focused in on your DPS. However, he feels that if he removed Cleric stance from the game or removed it from a cross roll ability, a lot of people would be upset with him and with the game balance as a whole. That being said, he also did say he hates Cleric stance. So I found this next question interesting. Somebody asked, are there any changes planned for the marriage system? We've had it for a while, but is there anything else they're planning on doing with that system, like anniversaries or for gifting, etc.? And Yoshi-P said that they do have plans for changes to the marriage system or updates to it, either maybe 4.1 or 4.2. So it is confirmation that we're going to see some adjustments or updates to the marriage or, to the eternal bonding system. That's what it is. So that's pretty cool. So they said for Stormblood, are there any changes to streamline crafting and gathering for, Stormblood? like they're doing with the battle. And he says there are plans, they are doing some adjustments. And then they teased about a new disciple of land job that was going to be like Shepherd. And so they're kind of teasing Mount Hilton. And he's like, am I designing a new class here? But they did say there are no new crafting or gathering jobs for Stormblood. I think that was just kind of a tease on a popular 1.0 data mine fact that there was the potential for a class called Shepherd or something like that. So anyway, I thought that was cool, and that it's neat to see, especially when it comes to those actions. The question really in general was about actions. Are crafting and gathering getting all these new actions, and how is that going to play? Because especially battle classes are being reworked, so they are working on the disciples of hand and land jobs as well. So I'm assuming a black mage asked about Eco Chain, which they corrected to Enochian, saying what changes are actually happening. And then they said, well, they're not going to tell us, that they plan to tell us everything, really kind of get into it sometime later, which they've kind of talked about before in May. So he did hint that it is going to be a persistent buff, that it's not going to fall off, would continue to get stronger the more optimal your rotation is. And we've known that, so it's just more confirmation of that fact. But we're not going to see more until most likely until May. So are we going to see more events like the Halloween event where we were using existing content in new ways? And Yoshi-P says he hopes to be able to do that for other seasonal events in the future. It seems that everybody in the audience was, really enjoyed the Halloween event. And that's really good to know that they're definitely considering doing that again based off of its success this past Halloween. So then the question I thought was really interesting: is there anything that Yoshi-P is particularly proud of that he hopes the players don't miss in Stormblood? And he didn't really know how to answer that question, but he did talk about being able to climb up to very difficult areas to reach, and you might find something interesting there. Whether it's just the view of the vista, or if it's just, or it really gives you reason to kind of try to get into these hard to reach areas. Sounds fascinating. So if nothing else, it's a big tease to explore the world that they're creating with Othard and Almingo. So the question was asked, and I think this was a really good one. Are there any plans to add set bonus to gear found in the raids, whether it's the Savage raid or even the normal raid? So Yoshi-P said there are no current plans to add set bonuses to raid gear, but it would make it more meaningful. So they are going to look into it. Since they're still working on it, there's obviously that possibility. I think it would be an excellent idea, and I'm interested to know what you guys think, if set bonuses for raid gear would be important or exciting for you. Let me know in the comments below. So in the confirmed category, they asked, is there an ability to have like a mannequin or a weapons rack to be able to set up in our houses? And Yoshi-P said that they are actually planning on it. They were just recently having that conversation, and it will be implemented in the 4.x series. No word on when, but it is a confirmed fact. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's where you've got these great pieces of gear that you've acquired. You can set up a mannequin or have some kind of display for that weapon or armor in your house because you've worked so hard for it. And I think it's a really cool idea. I know a lot of people who really enjoy housing would probably appreciate that as well. They talked about the mentor program and that it's a real possibility that we would see a buff in the experience for mentors to those who are in their party to get that XP bonus for playing content with a mentor. So that's really interesting and good to see as well. Then obviously the question, can we get more challenging content? Which Yoshi-P then reiterated what Frankfurt had displayed, where he said that there's going to be special content for players who clear Savage content, and it should happen in the off patch. So you get the raid in 4.0, you might get a harder version or something that's, if you've cleared Savage of 4.0, that you can then access in 4.1. So I think that's will hopefully keep people interested, especially in the 6-month gap between the two different pieces of content. But it's pretty much like, then he went on to say, you make it too hard, they complain, you make it too easy, they complain, and it's a real tough balance to get to, and I fully understand. So just like with the sightseeing log, there is a possibility, somebody called it a diving log in the question, so who knows if it's going to be all part of one system, but the idea that you can jump off of cliffs or do various things to that. And he's like, yeah, it's a possibility. I didn't really get a hard yes or no, but if they did do it, that it would be interesting or maybe even challenging to get to some of those areas. I really haven't gotten involved in the sightseeing log, but for anybody who's out there who's interested in it, I think they did a better job of it in Heaven's Word, but it really was always just the side thing that you could do. Somebody asked if there's going to be more lore planned for existing clans like the Dust Rites and whatnot. And Yoshi says that if he asked about it, Koji's probably just going to want to create a new lore book, which the audience cheered and said, yes, take our money. But he did say that we are going to see characters take a more prominent role that haven't in the past, so that we can get to know their stories and more about them through Stormblood. So please look forward to playing through the story and learning. And then somebody asked, and this is really great, talking about like an OPOD, essentially, an equestrian, I can't even pronounce that, sorry for horse lovers out there. So essentially the jukebox, being able to take that with you. And so Yoshi-P said it's a wonderful idea, but the resources required to be quite large, and that it perhaps is just easier for you to set the soundtrack up on your computer and listen to it that way. He did say he would take it back to the sound team and let them, consider it and see what could be done. And anybody looking forward to seeing a male bunny outfit is going to have to keep waiting a little bit longer. They're busy with Stormblood. They've gotten a couple of the races done, but it's still going to be a little bit longer. And one of the last questions that I wanted to talk to you guys today about was the question that somebody brought up, and I thought it was going one way, and then it took a complete left turn, and it was so frustrating in my opinion. So somebody asked, is like, hey, I've got all my tanks leveled. And I thought I was going to go, and what incentive is there for me to do roulettes and to queue up and all that? But it went in the direction of, can we get a Puppet Master tank job? So Yoshi-P was very polite and said, no, we're not getting any new tanks right now. I know a lot of people, want that, but I thought this was just going to be the perfect question to get some insight on what they might do to incentivize tanking in Stormblood outside of just the experience bonus, which becomes useless as soon as you hit level cap. So in this case, level 70. And when it went with Puppet Master, I was like, I know people want new jobs, and I know I can understand that. He's not going to sit here and tell you, yes, stay tuned for Puppet Master Tank in 5.0. What he did say was, a Puppet Master Tank, you would be dead. And my real final thought is that there really wasn't a lot of just amazing Stormblood information. I was really hoping for some great questions. We did learn some information, which was great to know. So anyway, I'm more excited now than ever for the media event, and hopefully to see what questions will be asked and answered at those venues. Not knocking, I don't even know what to say. Me as a fan who follows these types of events is so happy and excited to have that opportunity to ask those questions. And I think the frustration that I feel comes from having my own questions that I would like to have asked myself. And I'm sure that, if we put everything equal, me asking the questions that I want to ask would have the same feeling that somebody else would have. Like, I'm not interested in that. But I want to know what you're interested in, right? So what questions would you ask Yoshi-P in this regard? And not that I can answer them on behalf of Yoshi-P and the development team, but I'm just kind of curious, like, is glamour that important? Is housing that important that that's what we're going to focus our time with the producer and director with? You know what? And if it is, and and then I'm in obviously the vocal minority, and that's okay. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to, like, oh yeah, right on, Brian. But anyway, that wraps it up for me. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. My name's Brian. This is Work to Game. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you in my next video. But until then, take care. So first, just a side note. Apparently I scratched my head in the middle of the night the other day, and so sorry about that. It's just weird. Not going to edit it out in post because I don't know how to do it. Hey, it's me. Thanks so much for watching this video. You should click here to subscribe and here to maybe check out some more of our videos. So again, thanks for watching. We hope you like this video. We hope you subscribe and join our community. Let us know in the comments below what you think, and we'll see you next time.